How's it going, everybody? Back again with a trailer load of stuff, I reckon this time. This is my uncle's Dixie chopper, walk behind zero turn. Got the little sulky built onto it. And then this was his 450 Foreman ES. And he offered it to me. It's been sitting for probably a couple of years, and he offered it to me, and he's not really using it anymore, so I ended up buying it. But part of the deal was fixing the Dixie chopper. I worked on this Dixie chopper before. I put coil packs on it, and it runs really good. The battery's dead, but something's wrong with the clutch. I'm not sure what. I'm thinking I might work on it before I take it off the trailer, because it's a little easier to see up under it when it's off the ground a little bit. So he said at one time the piece that holds the clutch from spinning, I guess, came loose and let the clutch maybe wrap around some, and the way I understood it, pulled the wires kind of out of the clutch, and maybe it's been fixed. At least if I remember right what he told me. But I've not started it to see what it acts like yet when you engage the clutch. It has been fixed with wire nuts, which I'm not real fond of. And look like we got a zip tie going something. So I'm gonna start it up and try to engage the clutch and see what happens. And maybe if it's not doing anything, I'll try to figure out if we're losing power somewhere, if the clutch switch is actually working. Try to trace it down and see what's going on. See if we can get it fixed. I've got my little jump pack on it here. I should be able to hear the clutch engage just pulling this switch. I don't hear anything if I wiggle these. Still not hearing anything. Could be a bad switch or anything. The clutch could be bad. Could be in the wiring. Not hearing anything, so I'm gonna have to dig around a little bit. So obviously no difference there with the thing running. So, trying to look here. This is the PTO switch wiring. Looks like maybe an orange, a blue. That one's pink, I guess. I think those are the only three in there. So if I follow it up here, we've got one fuse block here, but then looking on down here, there's another fuse block. It's kind of hard to show. That fuse is good just looking at it. So I'm gonna get off camera and check if I could get this one open. That fuse shows good too, just looking at the element. So let me dig around a little bit and see what I can find. I've got the battery charger set up. I'm gonna take my test light. I've got the key on, the clutch engaged. We'll see if I've got any power at these wire nuts. Okay, I've got power on that one. So and this other one should be ground. So let's try it now. So I've got ground and power. So just to be certain, I'm going to check that the power comes on and off with the clutch switch. That's working how it should. So I know everything's good down to my clutch wiring, at least right here. So looking up under the machine, I was able to get the plug loose from here, just where it plugs into the clutch. And I had power on it, but I didn't have any ground, so it's hard to see much. You can see on this one pin, the wire's pulled out. So, hopefully that's all the issue is. That'd be an easy fix. It's just kind of hard to see much up under the thing, which is kind of why I wanted to do it on the trailer. It gives me a little more height to work under it. So I think I'll just get these wire nuts off and get my zip ties loose and pull that harness out, and then I'll be able to fix that and put everything back together. So here's what I was talking about. You can see the very end of the one wire up in the sheathing here. And then you can see both terminals in there, but there's no wire in this one because it's broke off up here. I'm not sure what the big zip tie's doing with the big tail on it. That's actually a reusable zip tie. Push this button, should be able to feed it back through like that. You don't ever throw away a good reusable zip tie or a regular zip tie if you can get it loose. I'm not sure what that was doing really. Maybe it had some of this harness bunched up at one time. These are the ends that were in the wire nuts. So, may have to cut some of this sheathing off of here. But there's the end I'm after right there. So now I've got to get the terminal out of the little holder here and get this put back in. So there's a little tab up under here that has to be released. You can't really see it. I'm just going to try to use a flathead screwdriver and pry it up and push the terminal out the back. This right here is the tab that I just released, and you can just kind of pry them back down a little before you put them back in, and they'll catch again. They do make pieces that are made to release these terminals, tools I mean. I probably should get one, but I've been using screwdrivers and I've even made my own before, so. But this is what I'm needing. You can see the one end of this crimp broke off, which would be back here on the black part of the wire. But the wire is just totally broken out of the connector. You can see the end is still in there. So I'm going to see what I can do about just fixing this so I don't have to try to get a new terminal end. I think it can be fixed. So, but I'm going to have to clean it up real good first. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. Probably chop this off and strip a little more. And then I'll see if I can get this put back together. I've got the soldering iron heating up. You can see how rough looking that wire is. It's really hard to solder wire when it looks all dingy. I'm afraid it might still look kind of rough back here too, but it shouldn't be that bad. So I'm gonna give it a shot. It's still kind of dirty, but we'll see what it does. I could run a new piece of wire through here if I have to. And then over here in my vice grips, I've got this terminal in that I've kind of cleaned up, shined up. So, I think first, I'm going to try to tin this wire. Like I said, it's a little bit dingy. I kind of cleaned the tip on my soldering iron. It really helps a lot when the tip of the iron gets dirty. It'll get kind of black looking. And it really makes it not solder well. And you want heat in the wire that you're soldering, or the whatever you're soldering to. You need heat into that. Because just melting the solder, it won't stick to the wire unless it's hot. And probably should use some kind of flux for this, but I think it's going to work. Sometimes I just feed it some solder to help it clean itself, if that makes sense. But it looks like it tinned up good on that side. Let me try to get some on this other side. All right, I think that's going to work okay. I've got a pretty good little blob of solder on there. It's not pretty, but for what we're doing, it might be helpful. So now I need to heat this terminal up. Try to get some solder to stick in it. That worked really well there. So now, if I can get this melted again, got that shoved in there. I think that right there will hold from now on. Good enough to pull it out of the vice grips. So that doesn't look too bad. So now, should be able to stick this back in here till it clicks, just like that. And it's back in there solid, shouldn't come out. Should be good to go on that plug. And I'm gonna cut a little bit of this sheathing off down here and clean these wires up, and then decide how I'm gonna connect them back, because I'm not gonna use those wire nuts again. Now I would prefer to solder these joints too, but it's kind of aggravating to get up in there, and those wires are probably dirty also. So I'm just going to use these butt connectors. They work pretty good. So this harness is done. You put it back in. Should be done underneath. Well, the wires up here on the harness were bigger, so I had to go to a different color, larger butt connector. Kind of aggravating, but that's hooked up. Should be zip tied out of the way. I don't need these anymore. I'm doubting it'll start on the battery charger. It's been on there about an hour. I don't know that this battery's any good, but let's try it. Oh. Okay, well it cranked really good. Maybe the battery will come up. Let me give it a little throttle. First, let's try this. I hear the clutch clicking in. Now let's see if it'll run. Well, I kind of knew better than to do that, but I figured I'd give it a try. clutch definitely works because it kicked everything out from under the deck. It's dried in there. It's all dried in there from sitting all winter. So I need to get it outside and let it run a little bit and make sure everything's good. I already got it pulled out of the garage. It's not on the charger. It's cranking good. Try this again. Alright y'all, this thing is fixed. I was kind of expecting to have to pull the clutch, but luckily the connector is right down there on the clutch, and just had that one wire loose, just kind of had to get the harness out to fix it. Really couldn't have done it up underneath there, it's just not enough room to work, but you can hear it engaging how it should. I thought I'd need to put a battery on it, but after charging it for an hour or so, it fires right up. Cranks really strong, so hopefully the battery is just fine. It seems to be. And so hopefully in the next week in the next few weeks, I'll be making some progress on the Foreman. And so I should have few videos coming up on it, at least one to get started, and then after maybe I get a few parts and things, there'll be another one for sure. Definitely got to get it cleaned off before I get started on it. It's just too hard to work on when they're that dirty. But appreciate y'all watching. This thing's fixed, so we're good to go, and I'll catch y'all next time.